Stop hoping for your business to grow and start mastering the formula for success that every entrepreneur needs to grow their business. Join us for 5+1 Mastery, where every week we go in depth on how to grow your business the right way. Learn more at 5+1mastery.com. Hey guys, get ready for this episode of Connect, Share, Prosper today. Today I have Jas Takhar, and it is going to blow you away how much similarity he and I have. Again, he and I had never met. We met today on this podcast, which is interesting. I always let curiosity lead the conversation. And today we talked about several things. You'll hear some similarities, but that, you know, the setup for positive mindset is so crucial in a time like this. And he's going to share what they've done to, guys, get this, 7 figures in the last 60 days, 7 figures in commissionable revenue that came his way in the last 60 days. And you're going to hear how he did it right now on this episode of Connect, Share, Prosper.
I'm your host, Jas Wilson. I bring you successful entrepreneurs, add valuable wisdom to your journey, and help you succeed. Welcome to Connect, Share, and Prosper.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. I'm your host, Jas Wilson. I am joined today by Jas Takhar. He's a Toronto native and has been in sales and service industry for over 25 years. Soon after deciding to try his hand in real estate, he co-founded REC, and in the course of 15 years has successfully propelled his team to the first place position in Canada under Royal LePage. Wanting to share his knowledge and experience with the masses, he wrote a book titled Real Estate Intelligence, which I can't wait to ask you some questions about that, which teaches others how to buy or sell real estate on their own. His hope is to provide inspiring content to aid others in removing the friction for their own life in order to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. Jas Takhar, my guest today on Connect, Share, Prosper. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Chaz. I mean, I know how hard it is to produce content. I do about 20 pieces of content a day on all the platforms. And for you to do what you're doing, kudos to you. Congratulations to you. And most importantly, thank you, because we need the positivity and that optimism to be shared more. And you're doing your part. So just thank you for that.
Man, agreed. Thank you for that recognition of that. I appreciate that. But let's jump there just for a second, and then I want to go back to your story a little bit here. But let's jump into that. The positivity you were talking about. Why is that so crucial right now? I mean, not from like not a kind of foo-foo like, oh, we just need to be positive. But why is it where all of these things that we've been talking about, so many have said for so long, it's showing up now? Why is the positivity so important right now?
Well, because I just personally myself, and anyone who's watching and listening right now, and even to yourself, Chaz, like, what have you accomplished with a negative mindset?
Yeah, how's it served you, right?
How's it served you, right?
Yeah.
And so every single morning you wake up, you get that opportunity to look at. It's all about perspective, right? And so yes, you can look at the glass half empty, half full. We know all this stuff theoretically, but I'm sitting here telling you right now that everything I was able to accomplish was all because of the thoughts I was having in my head. So your thoughts become your actions, and then your actions will determine your results. And so it's the law of gravity, right? Like, whatever goes up must come down. And so if you believe in this foo-foo stuff or not, it doesn't really matter. It is.
It's there.
And so what you have right now, today, at the time of this recording, the summer of 2020, what you have in your life is based on what your thoughts were 30, 60, 90, 3 years ago, like 90 days ago or 3 years ago. The smaller stuff was probably 3 hours ago. The larger stuff in your life, the relationships you have, where your business is, that is all based on thoughts you were having maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And so now today you have that opportunity, you have the choice, you can make the choice to say, you know what, I'm gonna look at this from a positive point of view. I promise you that you'll just find yourself you'll find yourself in front of opportunities, and a year from now we'll be having a different conversation.
Yeah. By the way, just a side note, I'm going to send you a copy of my second book, Now Make Good. I literally go through thoughts, actions, habits lead to results. You are speaking it like as if you had read it. I want to send it to you. I'll make sure I get it to you.
Okay. And I'll be honest, I haven't read it, but I'm excited to get it in my hands.
I will send it your way as soon as we're done. Now, let me just touch on something. You talked about the mindset. of this, and I'm with you. The thoughts lead to those actions that you take. And you've produced some amazing results in this time. You were sharing with me in 60 days, you did 7 figures, $1.4 million in commissions. Okay, so I just want to challenge a thought then your direction. But Jas, that's easy to say when you do $1.4 million in 60 days. It's easy to say, hey, have positive thoughts. But what about those right now which I know it wasn't easy to have those positive thoughts, they're still intention. But what about those that say right now, man, it's easy for you to say that, but maybe government's restricting and saying I'm non-essential right now, and I can't operate the way I've been operating. What would your advice be to them?
Well, look, you might not be able to hit that 1.4 million, and in fact, and I also appreciate you saying that it's not easy, because there's a lot of just having the positive thoughts is showing up. Like that's bare minimum. That's 50%, 70, 80%, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely not 100%. You got to work. You got to do something. And so, yes, to somebody who's watching or listening right now, you might not be able to hit those kind of targets or hit those results, but what are you doing? Are you sitting there and letting that negativity from the news creep into your head? Are you spending time with people that are like, you're surrounding yourself with negative people? Are you watching Netflix all day? And look, if this is the time for you to relax and sit back and chill, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't judge anybody. That's not who I am, right? Like, each to their own. But if you want more, then maybe now is the time to go work. So your business that you had or whatever, wherever you work, is non-essential. Go find an essential business and go learn. Go put in the time. There's a reason it's a known fact that it takes minimum 10,000 hours to master something. Get started with it.
Yeah, what a time to do it, right?
Do something different. Do something different. We all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So now might be the time that you go work for somebody for free. Like, somebody's listening to this and saying, bullshit, dude, I got bills to pay. Great. Figure out how you're gonna pay those bills. You got to work at McDonald's. Like, I have a business partner, and we're in the midst of making a shift in our business, like from a real estate perspective, Chaz. Like, we help a little over 700 real estate buyers, sellers, and investors every single year. Wow. Out of those 700, 200 to 220 or something approximately are with new build condos, because that's Toronto, I think, is 1 or 2 in the world.
Yeah, right.
The amount of cranes we have coming up in our city. And so the shift that we're thinking of making was, okay, look, a lot of people are starting to tag us as the new pre-construction realtors, right? And that's all we do. And it's not, I understand why they think, and that's fine. But the shift going back to the shift is, okay, I also want to be known as all things investing in real estate. Okay. And so that's multiplexes and so on and so forth. And my partner was saying, Jas, if we make that shift, we're not going to be able to scale it as much as we can scale, as much as we're scaling the pre-construction stuff. Like, we're going to lose some of our income. And what I said to him was like, I don't care, because I'm okay to go work at Mickey D's now. Like, right, if I had to go work at McDonald's just to get started again, I would. So now everything above that is a bonus to me.
Wow, so that's an interesting thought. How did you get to that place in that thought process? Like, it's almost like you're willing to push it all in because you've done it before, right? Isn't that a fascinating thing? I've met so many people on this show who've achieved a certain level of success who almost get to a place where, like, to outsiders it would seem risky.
Yeah.
But it's not, because they have that confidence in themselves. Like, I've done it once, I could do it again. In fact, many of them have. They're on their second or third time, and each time they took what they learned into the second or third venture. Is that true for you?
Yeah, look, I think you talked about taking risk. I'm definitely someone that can take risk, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, like, and I'm not saying like wannabe-preneurs or like people who want to get into business, right? They think that entrepreneurs are like massive risk takers. I actually don't think they are. Like, I don't believe, because we believe so much. Like, I can tell you about me personally, like, whatever venture I'm about to take on, I believe in it so much that anyone saying it's a risk, it's like, no, it's not. I've thought this through. Now, is some of it maybe like naive? Yeah, maybe, but I definitely don't think I'm taking a massive risk in anything that I do. We've had this company REC for 15 years. REC stands for Real Estate Center. It's REC Canada to be exact. And in the last 3 years, the biggest change we did was to produce content. We weren't really ever doing. We had a radio show. We were paying for it. It kind of did its thing for a couple of years, but at scale now, the 20 pieces of content that we do daily on all the platforms that I mentioned, we were like, okay, that's the shift that I'm gonna take on, and I was gonna lead it. To me, it didn't seem like a risk. To everyone around me, it did.
Is that because you're betting on you?
100%. So
Yeah.
I think real estate is the best one of the best and safest investments you can make. The only one for me that's better is investing in Jas.
Yeah.
Because I go to sleep at night and wake up with me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I truly believe I'm the best investment for myself.
For sure.
I'm not here saying, Chaz, you should invest in me.
Right. But for you, you're your investment. And those listening, they are their best investment. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And that's why I feed that investment so much. I probably feed myself more than I need to.
Physically, right.
Right. Physically. But like, I have a stack of books that this phone is sitting on, and there's tons of books around me.
Agreed. Right.
I no longer read, so even when I get your book, I'm hoping you have an audiobook coming up.
I do. I have the audio. We'll send you the audio.
Don't even send me send me the book, because I'll put it up in my media wall here. But send me the audiobook. I'll divulge it within 2 days probably. My drive into work.
Exactly.
So all I do is feed myself in terms of like me being the best investment, because that's how I know I'm getting my knowledge. So all I do is listen to audio books. I go to workshops, virtual seminars. I'm still in that on a daily basis. Like, I'm a big Anthony Robbins guy, Jack Canfield, mentors. I'm very picky on who I surround myself with on a regular basis. Like, you're not going to get into my circle real easy. Like now, in fact, I have a couple of people who guard that circle.
Yes.
Because it's all because of the negativity. I just don't want the negativity.
You have to protect it, just like anything else. Yeah.
You have to, right? Like, you got to protect it like you would protect a child or a pet. You know what I mean? Like, it's that important. It is that important, because you're the machine. Like, I'm the machine that is going to be the producer for the rest of my life. You know, I'm not talking about being the machine in my organization. It's way bigger than that, right? And so I think what more people need to do is audit who they're spending time with. Like, look, my mom, she's one of the most important people in my life, right? But she's not always positive. She's just
for
not.
sure. Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Now, I will never stop spending time with her.
Right.
But I don't need to spend an hour a day, or I can cut it down to 55 minutes a day. It's only 5 minutes a day, but over a week, I just got back half an hour of my time.
Yes.
Now I can choose what I do with that half an hour.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. So, of course, we teach about networking and connecting with others. It's so important, and probably more so than now, or than ever, because of that positive impact that has to be there. Especially that. So it's interesting. People will be so. I've talked about this with family and friends, and I even have to audit myself at times where, okay, so I spend all day with positive people, and then, someone might walk in and they turn on the TV, and then they don't realize all that they're digesting, that's all the negative stuff, or they get on social media and all of that negative stuff that's there. It's interesting. One of my guests shared with me their Instagram, particularly their Instagram strategy, and I followed it, and it was life-changing, quite honestly. Was the only people I follow now on my Instagram are people I want in my circle or who are in my circle. So that in my feed, now I get people that follow me, but in my feed, I'm only seeing those positive things because that's the people I'm connected with. And now I've insulated myself on social media that way too.
And so I think once you do that over time, I don't know how long you've been doing that, but what happens is you build those calluses, right? And in the mind. And so what will happen now is that you will have protection against it. So right outside this room that I'm in is the podcast studio for my podcast, as well as my office, right? And I got the crew around me here. And so right outside is a TV that runs 24-hour news. Okay, I've been trying to hack into this thing and change it. I haven't figured it out because the one wire, it's a 17,000 square foot office. There's 35 plasma TVs or LED.
Right.
I don't know what they're called anymore. They all run this one news channel in Toronto, CP24. It's on a loop 24 hours a day. Going back to the calluses, I don't even know what's happening on that TV anymore.
Yeah.
At all. It's there. It's on all day. People stop by because I built that force not only on the external, but in here internally. It's all negative. 98, 99% of the stuff that comes on that TV is negative, hands down. I don't even hear it. I don't see it. I don't even know it's there anymore. So that happens over the time that you build reps. Like, so I haven't been to the gym in a year, call it, okay? If I go to try to pick up 2 plates and bench 2 plates, I'm going to have a problem right now. But if you are doing it, 2 plates is your warm-up.
Right.
You put in the reps.
So true.
Yes, you can think like, okay, I'm going to be thinking positively. That's great. You're showing up. You just put the uniform on.
Yes.
But now it's time to get on the court and start playing.
Now it's the actions that come.
The actions that come, right? And those actions are going to be like, once you build that, you won't even see it anymore. So I'm so happy to hear what you're doing, and you're finding your hacks and finding your ways to build out that force that protects you from negative noise going in, man.
Yeah, thank you. I love what you're saying. I think in the past, people have in many ways thought, hey, you know what, I can do this, what you're talking about. I'm strong enough, I'm disciplined to do it myself. And there's an important component of working here first. But how has the people you've surrounded yourself, you talked about, hey, I've got people that even help protect that, right? So now where isolation, but yet your network, the people you're surrounded are insulating you. Talk to me a little bit about that so people can get some skill set and understanding. How do I build that protection? What are some strategies or things you're doing to help you? I mean, obviously you got the screen, you were talking about that, but what are some other things you're doing? Like, how does somebody, I'm not saying that everyone listening, hey, this is how you get into Jazz's circle, but understand there's a process probably now you've put in place or some barriers and things that you do. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, look, I mean, high level, just to your point, if you hang around with 5 positive people, chances are you're going to be number 6. If you hang around with 5 inspiring people, chances are you're going to be number 6. You got to be careful though, because if you hang around 5 negative people, you're probably going to be number 6. And so the people around me now, they're because like, you'll have to speak to them personally and kind of get their take on it, so they're not feeding my ego only. But
sure.
I think what's happened with them is that they've seen results in their own life, and because they've seen results in their own life now, they know that this is kind of the way that is. Like, why would you want to live the other way? Why would you want to be a negative? And guys, that doesn't mean like I'm friggin' positive all day long and every day. I'm probably positive 98% of the time.
Right.
And it's when that negativity does come in or something doesn't work out. The sale didn't happen. I'm working on a massive 12-hour real estate marathon that's happening 3 days from today. Okay, it's the first ever real estate 12-hour webinar on investing. And I don't know what's going to go right, what's not going to, like, what could possibly go wrong. Was trying to fix all that stuff and have backups. But it's how quickly can you get out of it?
Yes.
So it's not that I'm here saying I'm positive all the time and I'm like, just all the time I'm living in that foo-foo-ness, as you called it. I love that word, by the way. And just living in the clouds, but I can get out of it very quickly. And so during the isolation, like the actual lockdown, what we did is I set up one of these Zoom meetings, Zoom conference, online things, whatever you call them, for 9 hours.
Yeah.
At 8:30 to whatever it was, 6 p.m., we had them running all day, so 10 hours close to, and we hung around with each other. So it didn't leave a lot of space for us to venture off into negativity.
Right.
And there was 5 of us on it every single day for, I think it was maybe 2 months. I'm looking over to one of my team members here. I think it was for like 2 months, every single day other than Sunday. That's our family time.
Yeah.
We stayed on this thing 6 days a week. And you could tell there was times at the first, like one of the people would sign on, that their shoulders were a little down. They weren't as
Yeah.
upbeat. But guess what? Because the other four, I don't think ever in all the time that I've been building this team out that we've all been down at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, there was a third business partner, my mentor, who tragically passed away. A month from now will be 3 years. He was my mentor, my older
Sorry about
brother. Thanks. It changed the course of everything that's happening. Okay. Even at that time, when we were probably at one of our lowest points in life, like, I'm not just talking about a friend passing away. This guy, I was his right-hand man for 13 years. He taught me everything I know. In fact, he'd be doing this podcast probably, because I would be in the back end doing the sales that I do, but we had to change up. We had to make changes. We had to exactly reinvent. Where even at that time, man, the 5-6 people that were in that core, we were never all down at the same time. So maybe 4 of us were, but the one person was still making jokes, and we knew, like, right, we are going to laugh again.
Yes.
We are going to be happy again. We are going to smile again. And then we started making jokes about us just feeling bad. Like, not in an insensitive way, but it was like, we would be laughing and be like, shit, there is a cloud above us still that's quite negative, but we were able to uplift each other. And so if somebody's watching and saying, okay, Jas, how do I actually do it? How do I do it? First things first, as I said earlier, the how will always appear. See, it's the what and the why that you need to focus on. What is it that you want, and get really clear about it.
Clarity, yes.
Why do you want it? Because when shit hits the fan, as it will, because anything worthwhile, something big, is gonna take time, and you're gonna fail. Okay, so when that happens, it's the why that's gonna continue to make you keep on going. But if you're continuously thinking about it, our brain will start to look for the how. A lot of people
we fill in the gaps. We move there. Yeah.
Long before Google, there's a part in our brain called the reticular activator system, the RAS. It will find what you're looking for, but you need to feed it. Just like Google, how long has Earth been around for? Google will spit out the answer. What is it that I want? Well, you know what? I'm looking into I want to invest into real estate. Great. The how will start to appear.
Yes.
The right people will come in. The knowledge will start to appear, and it'll come from places that you never thought about.
Yeah.
And it's always here. It's always here. So you don't need, look, I think most people focus majority of their time on, how am I going to make money?
Yes.
How am I going to feed? How am I going to pay my bills? You know what the brain says? Great, I'll get you to pay your bills. It's why most people live paycheck to paycheck, because all we really think about is paying our bills. It's a slight
the minimum standard becomes that maximum goal for them. Right.
And so if you start to think, like, I remember one of the first things that I don't know if it was a book or an audio CD or a workshop I went to, and in fact, it was Bob Proctor. I just remember, because I have Bob Proctor coming up on my podcast next week.
Good for you.
And so, and so it was him who said, make your annual income into your monthly income. Only think about that. I was like, what? The most I've ever paid at that time was $30,000. When I heard that, $36,000 was my annual income. I was like, this guy's on crack. Like, who the heck can do this? I was like, you know what? He's been doing this for a while. He's taught a lot of people. I'm going to try this. And slowly but so, every time my new annual income, whatever it is the year before, in my brain, I'm always trying to attract that being my monthly income. And I can tell you, do I hit it every single year? No. But I like that I'm shooting for something big. I really like it. It also pisses me off. Like, I'm also not like, shoot for the moon, you'll hit the stars, because no, I wanted the moon. I'm competitive. That internal competitiveness comes out of me. And so I am definitely, the next year, I'm still shooting for that. I'm still shooting for that. And so when we did 1.4, like you mentioned it, and thank you for mentioning it, because I think I want people to understand, they're looking at somebody who does not know how to spell still till this day. I'm 38 years old. I got major problems with grammar. Like, when I write, I also got major problems on just spelling basic words. It's not who I am, right? I'm born and raised in an area of North Toronto, in the northern part of Toronto, that most people like to roll up their windows when they go in there, or they don't even go into Rexdale. Like, you don't need to go to Rexdale. Why are you going there? And so we were always taught, and like, it was almost put into our heads that we weren't going to become anything. And so I now, like, that $1.4 million that we did in the last 60 days, that's because my thoughts were, how am I going to make my annual income into my monthly income? Man. And so you got to put the what out there, and you got to know your why. I promise you, If there's anyone who's listening right now, just take this and try it for 60 days. Try to attract and start small. Start with, you know what, next time you drive, you're driving, okay? And you're going to, I don't know where malls are open or they're not, but you're going to the grocery store. As you leave your driveway from home, all I want you to do is envision while you're driving that the parking spot closest, that's not a handicap spot, the closest parking spot to the store is waiting for you. And try that twice. And if it didn't work the first or the second time, DM me and tell me I'm bullshit. Because there's not a mall or a parking lot that I go to where there might be 20,000 people watching the Raptors game where I don't find one of the close, not necessarily the closest spot, but one of the closest spots. Why? Because I'm envisioning, man, me just pulling in and getting my spot. The team knows. The team knows. They're like, let's wait for it. And somebody just pulls out and I pull right in. That's small attraction.
I get it. I get it.
Attract a cup of coffee coming your way.
Yep.
Right? You need to start working that muscle.
It's fascinating that you so the book I was referencing is called Now Make Good. Making good on the commitments you make. Not only you're going to read it and find it interesting, however, you could have co-authored it. You've literally verbatim said several things that we talk about. I love when you said, shoot for the moon, aim for the stars. I always say that the problem with that is then you create a habit of missing. You create the habit of continuing to miss your goals, and that's not okay if you're competitive and want to achieve things. What's the other thing that I was listening to you very intently that's fascinating, and those of you listening today, I hope you got this key point. Here's somebody who's done in 7 figures in the last 60 days, which I know took a lot of work, especially the mindset work, taking that mindset and putting it into activity. But what you didn't hear is what's important today, you guys. What you didn't hear is, hey, this is how you make a phone call. This is how you make a sales presentation. This is how you overcome an objection. You didn't talk about any of that stuff. And that's my point is I think many times as entrepreneurs, to your point of the how, we get stuck in going, okay, how do I make that next call? Or how do I make that presentation? Or how do I overcome this objection? Or whatever that might be. And that's secondary to what you have to get right first. Correct?
The mindset first, right? It's all the stuff that you spoke about, the sales techniques and overcoming objections and all that kind of stuff is really is the car. Okay? But if you have no gas, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
The gas is the mindset. Like you
Yes.
need to get this right and talking about like the sales and the right people will come. Like maybe you shouldn't be the salesperson. Like I'm going to the I'm going to a far extent by saying you might be an entrepreneur right now and saying, okay, like I need to learn about sales, but maybe you weren't even supposed to be the person who's doing the selling. Maybe
So
Joe
good.
Blow,
Yeah.
Joe Blow or Mary Jane didn't come into your life yet because you weren't even ready for them.
Yeah.
And they probably walk right by you, right? And so one thing that, and I'm huge on like actual tactics as well. Like you're speaking to somebody right now that's all I've ever done is sell. I'm not sure if you can see, Chaz, but there's a bunch of shelves behind me here. I cannot put a shelf up if my life depended on it. I sometimes have to put like a little picture up at home and stuff, and I dread it, man. I'm getting that hammer, and I'm like, shit. I know I'm gonna put a massive hole into the wall. People are gonna get pissed off. Like I know, like it's gonna happen. Okay?
Man, I'm laughing because that was my weekend. I was supposed to put curtain rods, and like they're like this, they're crooked, and I'm like, I don't do this. I got to pay somebody to do this.
I don't do it, right?
Yeah.
So sales is what I've always done, sales and service. And so you need to know the tactics, right? Like you need to know that, like even when you're selling, a lot of people like, Jas, what makes you such a good salesperson? And this is not really a play on words, man. It really is because I'm looking at it as well after 25 years. It's like, holy shit, like, why am I able to? It doesn't matter to me what the product or the service is. Right. Because I truly just ask some questions. I make it very easy for people to do business with me.
There you go.
And
that's key.
Within the first 2 to 3 minutes, call it 5 minutes max, I've always known if someone's going to buy from me now or not. And if they're not, I just don't waste a lot of time because I know it's a numbers game. And the person who's saying no at that time, it's never really a no. It's just like, to me, it's not right now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
unless I'm an ass, and I don't know how far I can go with swearing and stuff here, Chaz, because I'll be
You're good.
careful. But like, unless you're not as long as you're not an ass, they'll probably come back if you just gave them the facts, give them the information, make it easy. They're so used to, like, the sales industry's bar is set so
Oh, for
low.
sure.
People are so pushy. They're trying to, like, I don't really handle a lot of objections because what I do is I address, because I have so much experience in sales and experience in real estate now, that I kind of know what the objections are going to be.
Yeah.
So I just address them at the start.
You confront it right away.
Mr. Chaz, the seller, I know you're thinking about listing your home, and the top 2-3 things that come up is what you're going to be pricing it at, how I'm going to be marketing it, and what I'm going to be charging. Let's talk about those things right now.
So true.
And
By
let
the
me bring
way,
it up.
and you may not know this, but I spent the first 11 years of my career in real estate, owning a real estate franchise before I shifted and in doing what I'm doing now.
Oh, I
And
didn't know. That's awesome.
And what's fascinating is those are still the same 3 concerns.
Still the same 3
They're
concerns.
still the same 3 concerns as they were 15 years ago.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's
No.
changed. And so what I've also learned, so I went from paper route, shoe sales, mortgages and loans, car sales, and real estate. That's my 25-year sales career. Okay. 12 years old to 38 now. Okay. And the objections were just slightly different. In car sales, it was, what car, what's my payment going to be? Right. And what, like do it 2 doors or 4 doors? Like the product or service it doesn't even matter anymore. Like, it's the people who are listening right now that are salespeople, or like, if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, but you have salespeople with you, have them focus, and you should be focusing on building relationships.
That's it.
Because I have people, so real estate's been 15 years for me, that guys and gals that bought cars for me 18 years ago that still buy real estate with me. Right?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, because you invested in those relationships over time. You played the long game with it.
That's it. And they asked me a question, and I'm like, I have no friggin' clue with that. And like, I don't have the answer for you, but I do know the person who has the answer. Let me get back. Exactly. That's been my calling card forever. In fact, I meet with people now that they invest. Like, now I cut through my content. I talk about it all the time. Like, I really don't care about the architecture of the home. I never have. That's not who I am. I don't even know what it means. Yeah. I do know how to help people build wealth in real estate. And even that, I lose, Chaz, I probably lose 50 to 60 clients a year that come into my office because in the first 2 minutes, I know what they want. They want the get rich quick scheme. I'm like, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
I'm not your guy. I haven't figured it out yet. If I do, maybe I'll get back to you. I don't think I am. I'm the boring real estate investor. I'm the boring investment broker, which is buy it and hold it.
Yeah. So I was going to transition to that from the real estate strategy. Yeah. Just because that's near and dear to me. I love the real estate game. I call it a game because I really look at it that way. It's fun. So your strategy is buy and hold?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a lot of success points of why buy and hold is a good strategy.
Well, look, real estate.
So are you buying right now in this market? Are you buying?
Right now I'll buy anything that in the greater Toronto area, which for your out of province, out of country listeners is a 75-kilometer radius. Mm-hmm. And because I look at basic supply and demand, there's a lot of demand and not enough supply. And so right now as an investor, I know I can win in that. And that's always kind of been the case. If I look at a massive sample size of 40 years in real estate, what in the greater Toronto area, what I know to be fact, hardcore, no crystal ball. I left that at home today, like just true black and white figures. In that 40-year span, values have increased by 7.1% year over year. Mm. Okay, and so it's the place where people want to be. I think it is the safest in our country, in Canada, to invest in the greater Toronto area because of our multiculturalism, because of the jobs, the job growth within the job sector. We have tech that's booming. It's probably, I think the last stat that came out pre-COVID was that it was outpacing Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Transit could be better, but it's getting there, okay, over time. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful city. I mean, we get all 4 seasons. This is where people kind of want to be, right? And so because of that, I invest into really anything in that greater Toronto area. I do focus a little bit of my portfolio, more of my portfolio to pre-construction condos, specifically myself, not all my clients necessarily. And that is because it buys me time.
Yes.
Here, the way that it works is it's 20% down
as
an investor, but you can put that 20% down in installments over a 3-year period.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so it's 5% in year 1, and then 7.5% spread out in year 2, and then 7.5% spread out in year 3. That's how it kind of pans out.
Interesting.
And so it becomes a forced savings plan for me. So once I sign on that dotted line, I know I can't go buy dumb shit.
Yeah.
Right. Hence why I wear the same shirt. Like, I changed the t-shirt, but like I only wear a t-shirt, and I don't buy expensive stuff. I mean, I was looking at my shoes walking into them. I'm like, shit, if a client sees me, it does look a little bad because they're starting to fade. I'm just a lazy guy. Like, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't have a lot of fashion style and any of that. And I don't buy really expensive things. And so I love the forced savings plan aspect to that type of investment. Also, I don't have to qualify. Like, I don't have to get a mortgage. There's a formality in terms of qualifying, like a pre-qualification, but I don't actually have to get the mortgage because the building's not built. So I get to buy time, which gives me some options, i.e., when the building's about to get built, if for some reason I can't get the financing because I'm getting tapped out from a lender's perspective, I'll bring in a joint venture partner.
Smart.
Have I flipped 1 or 2 of them? Yes. I generally don't like doing that because I know what I'm going to say in 10 years. Damn, that property about $500 million now. Because also in the greater Toronto area, again, going back to black and white numbers, in the last 100 years, every decade, values have doubled on average.
Wow.
So we just went through a period in the last 4 years at 5.5x times, like 5.5 times the value, but on average, they double. And so I know anything I buy now, on average in 10 years from now, if I buy something at $500,000, it's going to be worth $1 million. The reason I flipped it was probably because I couldn't get a joint venture partner or I couldn't get the financing. So I had to do what's called an assignment. And I just flipped the contract. But that's something that I generally don't like to do because it's generational wealth, man. Like it's the only place that you can get that type of wealth, in my opinion. Yeah, you can get it with stocks and people do really well, but I don't know the difference between a good stock and a bad stock. Like, it's not the game I play in.
Yeah, I love it. And, one of our guests that we had previously on here, so for our listeners, when you listen to Ryan Lee from Cashflow Tactics, he talks about your business or real estate are the only 2 investments that meet all 4 pillars that he talks about. And so as Jas is talking about today, real estate's a great investment. Jas, if they want to learn more about you or the classes you teach and stuff, where can we send them? How can they learn more about you?
So just to kind of quickly correct you, I don't have anything to sell anybody. I don't have any courses or anything to sell. I give away all the content up front. It's jastakhar.ca, jastakhar.ca. It's the place that you can get all my 115 podcasts, 117 podcast episodes.
Good for you.
I do animated clips once every week, and trying to get that to twice a week right now. You'll get the blog. You'll get all the information. I'm very easy to find.
I love that. Yeah, man, what a great episode. Thanks for pouring so much value into the marketplace and into the positiveness that you're sharing, and continue to be that leader. I think you're doing some phenomenal things, and it was a pleasure to have you on the show today. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Chaz. And once again, man, just big congratulations to you because you're doing your part.
Yeah, thank you, man. Guys, remember, every Monday, noon Central, on the Master Network's Facebook page, we bring you successful entrepreneurs like Jas who are going to share the successes, the struggles, sometimes the wins, sometimes the downs, to share with you what it's like behind the curtain to build a successful business. And Jas did that today. So again, remember, every Monday, noon Central, join us for the next episode of Connect, Share, Prosper.
Stop hoping for your business to grow and start mastering the formula for success that every entrepreneur needs to grow their business. Join us for 5+1 Mastery, where every week we go in depth on how to grow your business the right way. Learn more at 5plus1mastery.com.